The Treasure of the Magi, a study of modern Zoroastrianism, by James Hope Moulton, Book 2, Chapter 2, The Priesthood. An important function of the ancient priesthood has been in complete abeyance since the Parsi community became closed. In the olden times, there was itinerant priest who went from place to place preaching. See, that's the thing. If you have understanding, then you're supposed to share it. They are mentioned as early as the Gatha of the Seven Has, and it is clear that they owed their origin to the propagation of the first and most virile period of Zoroastrianism. The priests of the Irani community are distinguished in certain small features from those of the Parsis in general. They wear white turbans of a distinct form. The ceremonies which they have to conduct differ in some respects from those of other Parsis. The very curious and interesting marriage ritual is in particular is quite distinct. The daily work of the Parsi priest will come into view as we describe the ceremonial, for nearly all of which he is indispensable. Now remember, in the marriage, one of the things in the marriage is, just like in the Bible, you don't touch people before you're married. Well, I mean, you don't touch the opposite gender. I mean, you can hug your family, but you know what I mean. So if they're not those that you could never marry, you just don't touch them, except unless you're like a doctor or something. So they hold hands for the first time during the marriage. And, that's one of the more distinctive things. And just like you may now kiss the bride, because you weren't allowed to kiss the bride before the marriage in the Christian ceremony. But an approximate estimate of the number of practicing priests may be added in closing this chapter. The figures apply to Bombay alone. There are about 750 at present, but only about a fifth of them observe the very exacting Barashnum qualification, which entitles them to officiate at the inner liturgical services. The rest celebrate Naujoti marriage and the lesser liturgies. Kadmi Mobeds account for about 50 of the total, including about 20 Iranis. All Irani Zoroastrians belong to the Kadmi sect, while there are a good many Ervads who continue to wear the white turban. Though engaged in secular pursuits, so long as they continue to wear it, they may take up the practice of the priesthood at any time, or even perform ceremonies such as are open to their grade without relinquishing their status as laymen. But if they lay aside the white turban, this is no longer open to them. Lastly, we should append a note to the economic position of the priesthood. It is estimated that in Bombay, a dastur may receive between, lira? It's kind of like an L, like a with a line. So between 200 lira and 300 lira a year. In Mofusil towns, much less. Priests of lower rank will have an income of 20 lira to 80 lira. It is obvious that men are under no temptation to exercise the priesthood for its emoluments, and the intellectual and spiritual attractions are, as we have seen, no more considerable. We are not surprised that the profession has ceased to be an object of ambition. Now, if they do have the spiritual ambition to connect to the tradition, to learn about the tradition, they are certainly intellectual and spiritual ambitions, and especially if you're willing to go beyond mere conservatism.